Okay, and we have already put two problems in your YouTube. One is for m/g/1 and one is for m/m/1. There are two problems, you just go through it, but till now they have not asked the problem. Only thing asked is these two theory questions. What are the characteristics of queuing system? What is queuing notation together? And what is the steady state parameters of m/g/1 queue? So last 2 years, these two questions has been asked. Okay, so thorough with that. Okay, now we'll go for module 3, where we have the first chapter called as random number generation. Okay, so here what are the expected question? The first thing is you have to remember the two important properties, that is uniformity and independence. Hope this page is visible, right? Uniformity and independence, guys, these two are the important properties. And what is the theory questions which might be asked is, what are the properties of random numbers? What are the errors which you encounter in pseudo random numbers? And what are the considerations that you have to follow in your pseudo random numbers? These three questions clubbed together for 8 to 10 marks. Okay, what is pseudo random numbers? What is pseudo random numbers? What are the errors that will be encountered in pseudo random numbers? And what are the considerations that has to be followed in pseudo random numbers? Hope it is clear, right? You're following, right? Pseudo random numbers, its errors and its considerations we have in textbook, and also we have in notes. That three clubbed together as a theory question. Now there is a problem in the linear congruential method, guys, and which we have done also. This is very simple. Remember the formula: x of I plus 1 equal to axi plus c mod m. Okay, x of I plus 1 equal to axi plus c mod m. So what is a? A is a multiplier. Xi, in that if you put the I value as 0, that is x naught, that will become seed, and c is the multiplier, or you call it increment. C is the increment, a is the multiplier, and m is the modulus. By using this, you may have to generate the random numbers, and in the exam they may ask you to generate 4 random numbers or 5 random numbers. Okay, let's see one problem here. See here, use linear congruential method to generate sequence of random numbers with x naught is given as 27, a is 17, c is 43, and m as 100, and find the period of generator for the same. What is period of generator? I'll come back later and I'll tell you what is period of generator. Now you know what is given here, right? X naught is given. What is x naught? It is 27. So I'll write it as x naught as 27. A is given 17. C is given as 43. Just use the formula x of I plus 1. So x of I value is 0. So 0 plus 1. A into xi. Xi is 0. X naught plus c mod m. So x1 equal to, what is a value? 17. 17 into x naught value 27. 17 into 27 plus c value 43 mod 100. If you do that, you'll get x1 equal to pi naught to mod 100. So modulus means what? Whatever is the remainder portion is the answer, right? You'll get x1 as 2. Now what is your random number? Random number is nothing but xi by m. So r1 equal to, what is x1? You got 2. 2 by 100. You got it as 0.02. That is your first random number. Clear? Now similarly, you have to go for second random number. Same way it goes on recursively. A. Now for x2, this x1 it will become x1 plus c mod m. So what is your a1 value? A is 17. What is x1 value? Just now you obtained 2, right? 17 into 2 plus 43 mod 100. You get a 77, and your random number will be 77 by 100. It is 0.77. Similarly, x3. x3 equal to 17 into previous number. What is the previous number? 77, right? 17 into 77 plus 43 mod 100. You get it is 52, and random number 3 is 52 by 100, 0.52. Similarly, random number 4, you get as 0.27. Now you see, once you generate random number 5th 0.02, you got this number x by 2 is repeating from x1, right? So what you call period of generator is nothing but the time at which the number starts repeating. That is called as period of generator. Okay, we got it as 4 because fourth number what you got 27. That is what you obtained the initial number x naught as 27. X naught is given as 27, and I got my R4 also 27. So at the same time I got it repeated. That is called as period of generator. Okay, so we have 3 formulas to generate period of generator. This is just refer in the notes. Okay, then we have one more thing called as combined linear congruential method. That's an algorithm. You just go through it. Okay, so now the main 3 problems which might be asked in this particular exam is Kolmogorov-Smirnov test, chi-square test, and autocorrelation test. All these problems have been solved in YouTube, and you can refer YouTube, but I'll tell you once again how to solve this. Okay, so let us see here Kolmogorov test here. You can see all. Suppose that 5 numbers 0.44, 0.81, 0.14, 0.05, 0.93 are generated. Perform the test for uniformity by using Kolmogorov-Smirnov test with level of significance as 0.05. So this is the question will be given. First step is you have to arrange these numbers in ascending orders. Okay. So I'll arrange that number in ascending order. I write Ri, random numbers. So which comes first here? 0.05. I wrote it as 0.05. Next is 0.14. I wrote it as 0.14. Next is 0.44. I wrote it as 0.44. Next is 0.81. I wrote it as 0.81. Last is 0.93. I wrote it as 0.93. So I labeled I equal to 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So 5 numbers is arranged in a ascending order. Now, step 2 is I by n. Okay, what is I by n? So here is first row, right? 1 numbers. 1 by 5. 1 by 5 is how much? 0.2. What is n? N is number of values given 5. So 1 by 5, 0.2. Here 2 by 5, 0.4. 3 by 5, 0.6. 4 by 5, 0.8. 5 by 5, 1.0. Now, to find the Kolmogorov-Smirnov, I have to find d plus and my d minus, right? What is d plus? Here you can see in the left hand side, d plus formula is maximum of 1 less than I less than n, I by n minus Ri. So this is the second step, I by n, and Ri is already in the first step. So 0.2 minus 0.05, I'll get it as 0.15. Next 0.4 minus 0.14, 0.26. 0.6 minus 0.44, 0.16. And 0.8 minus 0.81 will give me a negative value. So I need not calculate any negative value, so I'll put it as dash. Next, 1 minus 0.93, 0.07. Okay. Now out of all those values, what have I calculated now, which is the maximum? 0.15, 0.26, 0.16, 0.07, 0.26, right? So that will become my maximum of d plus, that is 0.26. Now again, I'll go for I minus 1 by n. That is I by n already found out, right? So I minus 1 by n. So 1 minus 1, 0 by n is 0 only. Next I is 2. 2 minus 1 by 5 it will be 0.2. 3 minus 1, 2 by 5, 0.4. 4 minus 1, 3 by 5, 0.6. 5 minus 1 by 5, 0.8. Now to find d minus, the formula is reverse. Previous was I by n minus Ri. Here it is Ri minus I minus 1 by n. Okay. So 0.05 minus 0. 0.05 only. 0.14 and minus 0.2. Again negative value. So need to calculate. Put it dash. 0.44 minus 0.4 will get me 0.04. 0.81 minus 0.6 give me 0.21. 0.93 minus 0.8 will give me 0.13. Now again same way, maximum of d minus. Out of all those values, which is maximum? 0.05, 0.04, 0.21, 0.13. It is 0.21. And once this is completed, I'll go for computing my d. D is nothing but maximum of d plus comma d minus. It's 0.26 and 0.21. Out of these two, which is maximum? It is 0.26. This is what my calculation. Okay. Now in the question they have given you level of significance as 0.05. This is to get the table value. Okay. So in appendix, if I go for the table value 0.05 and n value is 5, I'll get it as 0.565. Sometimes in the exam, they'll directly give you the 0.565 value. Okay. D of alpha comma n. So you have to check whether your value is less than this table value. So what is my value? 0.21. Is it less than 0.565? Obviously it is yes. Then you have to write the conclusion telling that null hypothesis when the numbers are uniformly distributed is not rejected. Okay. Null hypothesis that the numbers are uniformly distributed is not rejected. So this is how your Kolmogorov-Smirnov problem goes on. First step is what? Write Ri in ascending order. Second step, get I by n. Third step, I by n minus Ri. And out of that, check one maximum value. That will be d plus. First step, I minus 1 by n. Get it. Next, d minus you have to find Ri minus I minus 1 by n. Here you'll get the numbers. Get the maximum among them. That is 0.21. Now compare d plus and d minus, which is maximum. That will be your value. And your value should be compared with the d of alpha comma n. That is the table value. If it is less, the numbers will be not be rejected. If it is more, it will be rejected. This is what Kolmogorov. Okay. Now we'll go for this is of the graph of Kolmogorov. Okay. Just go through it here. You can see the whatever line is there, that is called f of x, and above portion is d plus, below portion is d minus. Okay. Now we'll go for chi-square test. Okay. Read out this question here. Given the following numbers, perform the chi-square test with alpha equal to 0.05 and number of classes small n equal to 10. Okay, this is not capital N. Small n equal to 10 and interval are of equal length. So like these numbers will be given, guys. Okay, and you know that in a probability all the numbers lies between 0 and 1. So I have to divide these numbers into 10 equal classes. What I have done here, you can see solution way. 0 to 0.1, 0.1 to 0.2, 0.2 to 0.3, 0.3 to 0.4, 0.4 to 0.5, 0.5 to 0.6, 0.6 to 0.7, 0.7 to 0.8, 0.8 to 0.9 and 0.9 to 1.0. This is 10 classes. That is what has been told here, n equal to 10. I have divided all those numbers into these 10 classes. Now that is interval 1 to 10. Okay. Now what I have to do is whatever number is given, I have to scan here. How many numbers will fall under this particular category, 0 to 0.1. When I scan this, I'll get 3 numbers falling under this value. Similarly, when I scan for this interval, I get number 4, total 4 numbers falling under this category. Similarly, this will get 6, 4, 6, 2, 4, 9, 7 and 5. So you can scan and obtain OI values. And when I add this all OI values, I should get the total number of values given. What is that? 50 values is to be given and we got 50 values there. Okay, I got n value as 50. So 50 values I should obtain. It should not be more than 50. Why? Because 50 numbers are given for you guys. Now, sometimes in the exam, these numbers will not be given, intervals will not be given. They will directly give you OI. In that case, it is easy for you to solve the problem. Okay, when OI is directly given, it is easy for you to solve the problem. Now go for EI. How to find EI? EI is nothing but capital N divided by small n. Okay, capital N divided by small n. So we have capital N as 50 numbers. What is small n? 10 intervals. So 50 by 10, 5. So EI will remain 5 throughout. Okay, EI will remain 5 throughout. So 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. Now next you have to find OI minus EI. 3 minus 5 minus 2. 4 minus 5 minus 1. 6 minus 5, 1. 4 minus 5 minus 1. 6 minus 5, 1. 2 minus 5 minus 3. 4 minus 5 minus 1. 9 minus 5, 4. 7 minus 5, 2. 5 minus 5, 0. Okay. So OI minus EI is done. I'll go for OI minus EI whole square. That is minus 2 square 4. Minus 1 square 1. 1 square 1. Minus 1 square 1. 1 square 1. Minus 3 square 9. Minus 1 square 1. 4 square 16. 2 square 4. 0 square 0. Now what I have formula for chi-square test is OI minus EI whole square divided by EI. If you want to exclude this, you can exclude. Directly you can do this also. If you are well enough in calculation. So what will happen? 4 by 5. I'll get my 0.8. 1 by 5, 0.2. 1 by 5, 0.2. 1 by 5, 0.2. 1 by 5, 0.2. 9 by 5, 1.8. 1 by 5, 0.2. 16 by 5, 3.2. 4 by 5, 0.8. 0 by 5, 0. So when I add all those things, I'll get it as 7.6. So that is what my chi-square value or chi-square value, 7.6. Now similarly, as you done your Kolmogorov square, you have to come up with a table value also. Okay, but here for table values, I have alpha comma n minus 1. So 0.05 is alpha value and n minus 1 is small n. Okay, 10 is the interval. So 10 minus 1, 9. This value also again given in the table appendix, or else they will directly give in the question paper itself. It is 16.9. Okay, so check your value. Is it less than 16.9? Yes. So what you draw the conclusion? Null hypothesis that the number are uniformly distributed is not rejected. Hope it is clear, right? So what you're going to do in chi-square, intervals will be given. OI you have to see where it falls. Write the OI. Get your EI. OI minus EI. OI minus EI whole square. OI minus EI whole square divided by EI. Whatever you get, add it. You get the answer. Check that answer with the table value. If it is less, come to a conclusion that null hypothesis that numbers are uniformly distributed is not rejected. Now 2 tests we have done. One is KS test. One is your chi-square test. This both comes under test for uniformity. Okay. Now we have one more test left out, that is called autocorrelation. That comes a test for independence. Okay. So we'll go for autocorrelation. So remember the formula will directly go with the problem itself. You can solve it. Fine. See here. For the following sequence of random numbers, test whether 3rd, 8th, 13th and so on numbers in the sequence are autocorrelated. And again, level of significance alpha is given as 0.05. And you are given 30 numbers here. Okay. So I'll solve this problem. I write capital N equal to 30 here. What are they? Whatever numbers given for you. So total 30 numbers are given. So capital N is 30. Small I is the starting number, guys. Small I is the starting number. See in the question, They have told test whether 3rd, 8th, 13th. So what is first number given? 3rd. So I will be 3 here. Okay, 3rd. If it is asked as 2nd, 5th, 7th like that, then I will be 2nd. That is I equal 2. But in the question they are told 3rd, so I value is 3 here. Now this particular year I have taken as M, but you can take it as L also. Okay, if we get confused with M, we take it as L. L means lag, called as difference. You can see 3rd, then comes 8th. After 8th, it comes 13th. Then after 13th, what might be next number? It might be 18. Then 18, 23. Then 23, 28. That is a common difference here. From 8 to 3, it is 5. From 13 to 8, it is 5. So that is called as M or small m or L. You can call it as lag. You can write it as L. It is 5. Okay, it is 5. And capital M you have to find. So you have to go on substituting the value of capital M as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 until the condition fails. The formula we have is small I plus capital M plus 1 into L, okay, you can take it as L or small m, whatever you feel, less than equal to N. So I'll write 3 plus, I'll substitute my capital M as 1 now, 1 plus 1 into 5 less than equal to 30. Is it? Yes, it satisfies. I'll increase my M value 2, I'll get 18 less than equal to 30. Yes. I'll increase my M value 3, it satisfies. I'll increase M by 4, it increase. I'll increase my M value as 5, now the condition gets failed. So at what level my condition got satisfied? It is M equal to 4, therefore my capital M value is 4. Okay, so go on substituting until the condition gets violated. The last maximum possible value of M is 4. Or you can go by this formula also, where I get the maximum value of M as 4. So once this is done, I'll go for my formula, rho cap of IL, because I am taking M as small l, small m as small l, 1 by M plus 1, summation k equal to 0 to M, R of I plus KL into R of I plus K plus 1 into L minus 0.25. If you're finding difficult to remember the formula, it's very simple. 1 divided by 4 plus 1, because capital M value is 4 plus 1, 1 by 5 it will be. And here, this is nothing but multiplications of the sequence of number given. So R3 is given, right? And next number is 8, right? So R3 into R8 plus R8 into R13 plus R13 into R18 plus R18 into R23 plus R23 into R28, like that. And we don't have more than 30. So I'll stop at R28 only, right? Because next number is R33. I cannot go ahead with it. So only this much. Then minus, we have outside 0.25. That is according to the formula itself. 1 by M plus 1, this entity minus 0.25 has to be there. That is according to the formula. Don't forget that minus 0.25, okay? So we'll get it as minus 0.19452. Rho cap of IL is minus 0.19452. And I also have to find sigma of rho cap of IL. For that, I have a formula, root of 13M plus 7 divided by 12 into M plus 1. So 13 into 4 plus 7 divided by 12 into 4 plus 1, I'll get it as root of 59 by 60, it is 0.1280. Now my Z0 is this value divided by this value. So minus 0.19452 divided by 0.1288, I get as minus 1.5196. Now again here, alpha value is given as 0.05, but for autocorrelation, we have to divide it by 2. I'll get it as 0.025, and from 1, I'll separate my 0.025, I'll get 0.975. This value I have to scan inside the table, appendix table, okay? So there we have row value as 1.9, column value is 0.06, we'll get as 1.96. Don't worry about these things, it will be given in the question itself, 1.96. Then check your value lies between that 1.96 and minus 1.96. If it is yes, you will not reject the hypothesis. If it is no, means you have to reject the hypothesis. Okay, this is what your autocorrelation problem. So guys, under this chapter, pseudo-random number, its properties, errors, considerations, and linear congruential method problem, and out of these 3 problems, any one problem can be asked. Okay, now we can go for chapter 2 under that. Here, just remember this derivation, inverse transform technique, we have exponential derivation, right? Where you have to set f of x equal to r, and solving that r. This derivation is there in the YouTube channel, SMMS and OS tutorials. Go there and refer that. I have derived, solved it. This is important. Then we have simple problem here. It's Poisson variates, guys. The most widely asked problem. This you refer, okay, seal of RK, whatever I told you. RK seal of RK. Seal of RK problem is very, very important. Go and refer that. It's very 2 or 3 marks question. But the most important problem is this one. Exception rejection technique theory questions for 3 points, 3 marks. Exception rejection technique. This much you write. Step 1, step 2A, step 2B, and step 3. And problem is this one. Setting small n as 0, P as 1. Replacing P by P into P of R1 plus 1. And check whether P is less than e power minus alpha. I'll solve this problem. Yes, here. You have given here 6 random numbers. 0.4357, 0.4146, 0.8353, 0.9952, and 0.8004. Step 1, first find e power minus alpha. You get is 0.8187. Now set n as 0, P as 1. Take first random number. So 0.4357. So P equal to P into R1. So what is P value 1, right? 1 into 0.4357. You get it as 0.4357 itself. Now whether your value, is it less than e power minus alpha? Yes. 0.4357 less than 0.8187. So I can accept capital N equal to small n. My capital N equal to small n value is how much? 0. So my first Poisson variant is n equal to 0. Similarly, I have to go on continuing. Again, set n equal to 0, P equal to 1. Take next random number, 0.4146. Replace P equal to P into R1. 1 into 0.4146. I got this 0.4146 itself. Whether 0.4146 less than 0.8187? Yes. So capital N equal to small n, that is 0 only. I got my second Poisson variant also, n equal to 0. Now come for third. N equal to 0, P equal to 1. Again you set it. Take the random number 0.8353. You replace P by P into R1. 0.8353. Now whether it is less? No, it is not less. Now the situation will change, right? So you have to reject n equal to 0 and increment n by 1. You get n equal to 1 now. Take next random number, 0.9952. Now your P value is what? Previous random number is what? 0.8353, right? So for that, your next random number will get multiplied. It's not 1 into that, okay? 0.8353 into 0.9952, I get it as 0.8313. Whether 0.8313 is less than 0.8187? No. Increment n again. So n will become now 2. Take next random number, 0.8004. 0.8313 into 0.800 will get 0.6654. Whether 0.6654 less than 0.8187? Yes. Accept capital N equal to small n. What is that? Capital N equal to 2. So we got 3 Poisson variants, n equal to 0, n equal to 0, and n equal to 2. This is how the Poisson variant problem. This is very, very important. Okay, it's been asked in the exam many times. Similarly, the second problem also same thing. Here we'll accept only at n equal to 6. You can see here. All stages will get rejected. Only at n equal to 6 it will be accepted. So under this chapter, you give concentration only for Poisson variants and inverse transform technique derivation for exponential distribution and for uniform distribution. Okay. So that will complete your 3 module. Under 4th module, input modeling, guys, this is a most important theory question, that is, what are the steps involved in input modeling? We have 4 steps: data collection, identifying the type of distribution, choosing the parameters, and goodness of fit test. Okay, so go through that properly and write in elaborately. And here the problem which comes is chi-square test for underlying distribution is Poisson, and chi-square test for underlying distribution is chi-square. So you can solve this problem. We'll go for first one. See here, they'll give the data like this: xi equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, dot, 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 up to 11, and frequencies 12, 10, 19, 17, up to 1. Apply chi-square test to check whether distribution is Poisson. Use level of significance as 0.05. So we have a formula: P of x equal to e minus alpha into alpha power x by x factorial. So I'll find my mean, okay? That is nothing but 0 into 12, 1 into 10, 2 into 19, 3 into 17, 4 into 10, 5 into 8, 6 into 7, 7 into 5, 8 into 5, 9 into 3, 10 into 3, and 11 into 1 divided by total number of n. It is 100, I think. So when you do that, I get 3.64. Or else sometimes they'll directly give you a mean value. Then can you write your parameter alpha equal to 3.64. And this alpha and this alpha is different, okay? Level of significance is to see the table value, and whatever alpha you get for Poisson, that is your mean value, that is 3.64. Now go for starting first number, P of 0, e power minus 3.64 into 3.64 for 0 divided by 0 factorial, you get as 0.026. Similarly, go on doing for P of 1, P of 2, P of 3, P of 4, P of 5, P of 6, up to P of 11. And your EI is nothing but n into Pi. What is n? N is 100. 100 into Pi means what? Whatever value you got here, right? So 0.026 is 100 means what? 2.6 I'll get here. This side you can see 0.0955 into 100, 9.555. Round it up to single digit. It is left for you 9.6. Similarly, I'll write all those values. Okay. Now I'll come up with the main table. Xi as it is 0 to 11. Oi whatever given for your frequency values, write as it is. Ei just now I got. I'll write all those things. Now for chi-square formula, you remember the same thing. Oi minus Ei whole square by Ei. Now see here, there is one extra thing what you have to remember here is your Ei value should always be greater than or equal to 5. If it is not greater than or equal to 5, you have to club the next value to make it 5. Okay. So when I observe here 12, here my first value is 2.6. It's not greater than 5. That's why I'm going to club with the next value 9.6. So that together it will become 12.2. When I club for Ei, I have to club for Oi also. So it becomes 22. Then I'll do that. 22 minus 12.2 whole square divided by 12.2. You get 7.87. Next value 17.4 greater than 5. No need to merge. 17.4 can directly subtract from here. You get as 0.147. Next 21.14 also greater than 5. 19.2 also greater than 5. 14.0 also greater than 8.4 also greater than 5. So I'll get all those values, right? Now next value you see 4.4 less than 5. I have to club with 2. But if I club with 2, what happens is next iteration, if I club these 3, I'll not get it as 5. That's why at a single stretch itself, I'm clubbing all those 5 values. Okay. If I club 4.4 and 2, I'll get 6.4. But for next iteration, this will not give me 5. The 3 remaining values will not give me 5. That's why I'm clubbing all single stretch only. 17 and 7.6. You get this one. Then add this, give me 27.651. Then as already you know how to check the level of significance value. We have different formula here. K minus S minus 1. K is 7. How this 7 is okay? See here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Because we have 7 sets here, right? 7 sets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. And alpha is for Poisson distribution. We have only one parameter alpha. That is alpha. We have only one parameter alpha. For exponential also we have one parameter lambda. For other distribution we have more than one. So S is always 1 here for Poisson distribution. Okay. See now. 0.05 comma K 7 minus 1 minus 1. It is 5. Check this value in the table. It's 11.1. So your value is greater than 11.1. Therefore, the given distribution is not Poisson distribution. Your value should always be less than the table value. Okay. This is about Poisson distribution for chi-square test. It's the most important problem asked in the exam. Other thing is equal probability. Again chi-square, you can see here lambda is there. Okay. Previous case alpha because Poisson. Now it is exponential. So 0.084 is given lambda. N is given as 50. K is 8. So P is 1 by K. So 1 by 8. And frequency is given for you. Just find the interval. A naught is minus 1 by, substitute the value, ln of 1 minus IP. So I is 0 into 1 by 8. Next iteration to become 1 into 1 by 8, 2 into 1 by 8, 3 into 1 by 8, 4 into 1 by 8, 5 into 1 by 8. And then it goes on. We come up with the main table like this. From 0 to first interval 1.590. From 1.590 to next interval 3.4247 as you can see here. Like that you write on the intervals. Then frequency is already given for you. 1910 361146. So 1910 361146. Now it is equal probability. N into Pi, right? P is what? 1 by 8. 1 by 8 means 0.125. 0.125 into 50. N into Pi. So you'll get it as 6.25 throughout. Then it is similar. OI minus EI whole square by EI. Just subtract, you get the answer. Then again K minus S minus 1. Again it is exponential distribution. Parameter is lambda only. So 1 is the answer. So K minus S minus 1. So how many we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 minus 1 minus 1 is 6. So we get 12.6. Your value is greater than 12. Your value is greater than 12.6. So it is not a exponential distribution. Clear, right? So these two problems, and last one we have something called as covariance and correlation problem. I'll tell you this. You can see here lead time and demand. This is x1. This is x2. Okay. How to solve this? First, you have to find mean value of x1. Add all this and divide by number of values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You get a 6.14. Similar for x2 demand values. Add all this, divide by 10. You get as 101.8. The x1 bar you got, x2 bar you got, right? Now find the variance s1 square. It is individual values square minus n number of values into mean of x1 square divided by n minus 1. So when I square all those numbers, 6.5 square, 4.3 square, 6.9 square, 6.0 square, like that, I get as 386.44 minus number of values, how much? 10 numbers. So 10 into, what is the mean first answer? 6.14. 6.14 square divided by 10 minus 1. I get as 1.0493. So sigma 1 is root of s1 square. Root of this, it is 1.0244. Similarly, s2 square, square this now. 103 square, 83 square, 116 square, like that. You get as 104520 minus n is 10 into x2 bar. What is that? 101.8 square divided by 10 minus 1. You get this one. So sigma 2 will be root of that 9.9308. Now you have to find covariance. How to find covariance? 1 by n minus 1. So 1 by 10 minus 1 into multiply these two. 6.5 into 103 plus 4.3 into 83 plus 6.9 into 116 plus 6.0 into 97, like that it goes on. Okay, and minus 10 means number of values, 10 into x1 bar and x2 bar. This minus 10 into 6.14 into 101.8. This is nothing but 1 by n minus 1 multiplying the x1 and x2 values together minus n into x1 bar and x2 bar. It will give me 8.66. Now my rho is nothing but this covariance value 8.66 divided by sigma 1 and sigma 2. Sigma 1 is what? 1.0244. Sigma 2 is 9.9308. When I multiply that, I'll get it as 0.8554. Now my number 0.8554 should lie between minus 1 and plus 1. If it is yes, I can tell that x1 and x2 are dependent. So this is what about module number 4, guys. Here you have to just concentrate on first thing, that is steps in input modeling. Second is checking whether underlying distribution is Poisson. Third is checking whether underlying distribution is exponential. Fourth one, that is covariance and correlation problem. And we have one more theory question, selecting a model without input data. Selecting a model without input data. We have 4 options there: expert opinion, and nature and physical and conventional limitations, and 2 more are there. Just go through that. That is also another important question from that. So that completes your module 4. And module 4 second portion, we have some theoretical question. Forget it that. If you want, you can go to that. And module 5, remember only 2 questions. That is explain verification, validation, and model building for 8 marks. And second one, explain Naylor and Fincher model. That's 3 are there, right? Phase validity, input output transformation, and model Turing set something. Okay, these 2 questions widely asked every time. So these 2 questions cover module 5. Okay, so this is all about SMS. So let me go back again for dump truck problem. Once I'll tell you. After dump truck problem, I'll just wind up with few concepts. If you read this much, it's more than enough for your SMS. Okay. I'll tell you. Okay, guys. Dump truck problem is the most important problem. Okay, it will cost for 14 to 16 marks in the exam. Just listen to them. One company has 6 trucks to take ore from site to its industry. Each truck is loaded by one of the 2 loaders present. After loading, truck immediately moves to the weigh scale. Both the loaders and scale have first in first out line for service. After weighing, trucks travel around and deposit ore to the industry. Once this is done, trucks will join back the loader queue, and end of simulation is given as 76, and distribution for loading time, weighing time, and travel time are as follows. Guys, you have to calculate loader utilization and weighing utilization. So these things are given for you, okay? Loading time, weighing time, and travel time. So how to get these values, again, I'll tell you later. So what are the things you will be having? Okay, so you can see here, we have 4 system states here: LQ of t, L of t, WQ of t, and W of t. And 6 trucks are there. And what happens is, I'll just explain you with the question. Let's go for problem here. This is the problem, okay? So see what happens. we have a loading queue, okay, and it's been told that 6 trucks are there. Okay, loading queue is there, 6 trucks are there, and once loading queue, we have 2 loaders. Okay, loader 1 and loader 2. Loader 1 and loader 2. We call it as L of T. After loaders are there, we have weighing queue here. We call it as WQ of T. Then we have weighing scale. We have 2 loaders, only 1 scale. 2 loaders, 1 scale. 2 loaders, 1 scale. And before loader, we have loading queue. Before scale, we have weighing queue. This is how, okay. And initial scenario will be given for you. They will tell you like we have 4 trucks, 5 trucks at the loader, 1 at the scale. But you know already we have only 2 loaders, right? If 2 loaders means how can 5 trucks be in the loading side? Obviously 2 trucks in the loader, remaining 3 will be in the loading queue. Okay. Similarly, if I change the scenario, if I tell you 4 at loader, 2 at scale, you know that 2 at scale is not at all possible. Why? Because we have only 1 scale, weighing queue. So if 1 will be there here, other will be in the weighing queue. Okay, this scenario to make it clear. Okay, so most probably they will not change the question. If they ask 5 at loader, 1 at scale means you know that first truck is what? DT1. DT1 will be in the weighing. DT2 and DT3 will be in the loaders. DT4, DT5, DT6 will be in the loading queue. Okay, this scenario I have explained and we have uploaded in the YouTube also. You can refer it. If you have any doubts, just ping me. Okay, that's what the scenario will come here. We'll start clock time 0. We have 3 trucks at loading queue, that is dump truck 4, 5 and 6. At loader we have dump truck 2 and 3, that is 2 here. Weighing queue we have 0. Weighing scale we have DT1. So I'll write the loader queue. What are the trucks present? DT4, DT5, DT6. Weighing queue I don't have any truck. Now what are the trucks present in loader? I have to write end of loading for them. What are the trucks present in scale? I have to write end of weighing for them. And once it finishes weighing, it comes back, right? For that we call it as arrival at loader queue. We call it as ALQ. As we go on, we'll see that. Okay. So initially loader value and scale value both will be 0, 0. So how to get end of loading for dump truck 2? You can see here loading time is 10 for dump truck 2. Because we are starting from dump truck 2 because dump truck 1 is already crossed the loading time. Because dump truck 1 we have scaling time, right? DT1. So here 12 I'll allocate for dump truck 1 scaling time. And loading time is for dump truck 2 and 3 because that are the 2 trucks present in the loaders. So current clock time 0 plus 10, it is 10. Current clock time 0 plus 5, it is 5. So AL of 10 DT2, EL of 5 DT3, EW of DT1 is 12. And travel time for the later stage, okay, once truck is completed, we can allow the travel time for that. This is what happens. Loader value is 0, scale value is 0. Now out of these 3, see which is the smallest one. We have 5. At 5 what happens? Dump truck 3 will finish the loading. Once it finishes the loading, it will check the scale. But as scale, we have dump truck 1 already up to 12 clock time. So this will come and wait in the weighing queue. And since one truck got emptied in the loading side, what happens? The already truck which was waiting in the loading queue, we have 3, 4, 5 and 6, right? 4 will jump to the loader. That's what happens here. Current clock time 5. From 3, it will become now 2. This is still 2 only because we have DT4 jumped here. Weighing queue, we have 1, 1, and DT5 and DT6 because DT4 moved to the weighing there. And DT3 now new truck came for weighing. So what are the new values? EL of DT2, current clock time 5 plus this 5 will become 10. And weighing time is 12 only because it has not completed. And new truck, dump truck 4, end of loading is current clock time 5 plus dump truck 4's loading time 5. 5 plus 5 is 10. And for BL and BS, same way as your event scheduling. Refer L of T value. If it is 2, take the clock time difference 5 minus 0, multiply by 2. 5 minus 0, 5 into 2, 10 plus previous value 0. So 10 only. And whereas for BS, previous W of T value 1. 5 minus 0, 5 only into 1, 5 plus 0, 5. Okay, this is how the loading time, previous L of T for BL, for BS, previous W of T. If this is 1 means, do not multiply by 2, okay? Just run. And if it is 0 means, copy down the same value as to downside. So this is how your dump truck problem goes on. For this, we have solved the problem in our YouTube channel. Just go there, refer it, you'll understand it. If you don't understand it, You can come back and ask me. Okay. So once again, let me brief up all the concepts now. Guys, module 1. Let me tell the questions. What is simulation? When it is appropriate, when it is not appropriate. Okay. Advantages and disadvantages of simulation. Areas of application. System environment. Discrete and continuous system. Model, types of model. Steps in simulation study. Out of this, any one theory question. Okay. And problems is single channel cube problem, Abel-Becker problem. This covers 16 marks. Next, concepts in discrete event simulation. The 12 definitions with the examples. Event scheduling time advance algorithm. Event scheduling time advancing algorithm problem. That is, can be a simple problem or checkout counter problem. Then dump truck problem. This is another 16 marks question. Okay. This will cover 32 marks. Chapter 2 or module 2, just give importance for 2 questions. What are the characteristics of queuing system? Queuing notation. Additional queuing notation also you can write with the example. Then, what are the steady state parameters of M/G/1 queue? And 2 problems I have already uploaded in YouTube. Just go through that. That's not important, but still. But more focus for these 2 theory questions. Okay. Module 3, pseudo-random numbers, its properties, errors, considerations, 1 theory question. Linear congruential method, some numbers they may tell you to generate by using the formula, or combined linear congruential method algorithm they may ask, and period of generator they may ask. What is period of generator? I told you, right? Once you start, the number starts repeating, that is called as period of generator. We have 4 formulas are there. P equal to m-1 or P equal to 2 power b by 4. These formulas are there. Just go through that. Then we have 3 tests: Kolmogorov, chi-square, autocorrelation. Out of these 3, 1 test can be asked. Okay. Then the second chapter, when we go, derivation of inverse transform technique for exponential distribution and uniform distribution. Widely asked, exponential and uniform. Then just study the problem of exception rejection technique theory, and problem of Poisson variates. Set n equal to 0, p equal to 1, replace p by p into r1, p less than e power minus alpha. Go on doing like this until your value gets satisfied. And mean problem I told you. This is about that particular chapter. And module 4, input modeling. What are the steps involved in input modeling? Chi-square test for underlying distribution is Poisson. Chi-square test for underlying distribution is exponential. And covariance and correlation. That is whether the numbers are independent or not, they will ask. Lead time and lead time and demand value. That much. Okay. And EAR1 and AR1, just see the theoretical question. And also steps involved without input data. That 4 points are there, just refer that. Then module 5, verification, model building and validation, and 3-step approach or Naylor and Fincher model with diagram explaining. The 2 theory questions widely asked. So this is about SMS. Okay. If you have any doubts, any clarification, just ask me. Thank you for the session. So I can wind up the session now. If you have any doubts, guys, just ask in the chat box. So if any doubts are there, I'll just pass my number here. You have my WhatsApp number, right? And refer SMS and OS tutorials in YouTube. Okay. Almost all problems is solved here. Still, if you have doubts, give me a call. Okay, guys, all the best for your exam. Watch India.